Testing, testing. Testing the microphone. Testing the microphone. Okay, I think it should be better now. Okay, guys, I'm gonna start the stream now. Okay, guys, hello, and welcome to the very first live stream of KSP Galactic Quest. It's actually been a long time since I did a live stream. I probably shouldn't be in the spaceplane hangar because right now I kind of want to go over the resources I can find. Because this whole live stream is going to be about creating, well, not really creating, more like planning a colony. So I kind of have two candidates right now to colonize, those being Drez and Donk. So we got Drez over here first. What's interesting about Drez is that it actually has two wormholes orbiting it. Those being a wormhole to the Toon system, a wormhole to the Deb system, this one. Now, Drez itself actually has quite a few resources. Has everything we need, like alumina, we need this for metals and rocket parts. Has ammonia, I don't really need that though. Carbon dioxide, I need this for methane, so it's important. It also has water. It also has minerals, probably don't need that. Has helium-3 too, so fusion down the line. Has graviolium too, so when I start to dabble in warp drives, I might be able to find some stuff. Though it might be easier just to scoop it from a gas giant. We also got uraninite, which is very essential. And we got the classic ore, though it's not as useful with rational resources. We also have space dust resources, thanks to Space Dust Next. Sorry, I can't speak today, by Nerdy Boy. So, great mod, by the way. Basically adds a bunch of extra resources to Space Dust and a bunch of extra configs. Drez has a very small presence of hydrogen in its exosphere. Has a slight presence of carbon dioxide, so that's going to make it a lot easier to collect it. Same goes for water. So I can just scoop from this from the exosphere. I can't use normal space dust tools because it's just the exosphere. I'll have to use the exoscoop. So that'll be for like a space station thingy. Oh, hold up, I'll be right back. Sorry for the minor interruption. We also have rock. Just a little bit of it though. Really far out too. It's quite a bit of it too. I'm really not sure what to do with the rock. Hold up, let me Google that. Actually, I'll probably just look at the ISRU recipes later. We also have Donk, which is our other candidate. I already sent the mission to explore the Deb system and explore Gerdama and Lepat. Though the video for that's coming out in a couple of weeks, don't worry. But I'm yet to edit it, but I do have a thumbnail for it and it looks amazing. Deb usually doesn't look like this. Sometimes it just has a massive volcanic eruption and covers the entire planet in clouds. So it's a little annoying. So here's Donk. Now Donk is actually pretty interesting because it has a very, very thin atmosphere. It also has... Well, I didn't perform an orbital survey because I don't have communications. But what I did do is I used ScanSat. This is a scan for Drez. I got the scan of that too. Now here's Donk. Now resource, it does have a bit of uraninite, not very much. It's all 0 to 5% presence. But on Drez, it's kind of like that also. It's all 0 to 5%, even on the mountains. Whereas Drez has most of it, except for a few spots where it doesn't have it. Donk has it basically all over the planet, so that, well, it's a moon, not a planet, so that's pretty nice. It also has a bunch of helium-3, though not very much. It's very rare, because helium-3 is a very rare resource. It has metal ore, very abundant, but I think alumina is more common. Yeah, alumina is a lot more common. See, basically with stock rational resources, alumina is basically your equivalent to metallic ore. You can use it to make metal and rocket parts. If you install extraplanetary launch pads, you get metal ore, but these still remain. The ISR USPs, I believe, are also remaining. Now, the problem is there is no water here, so I either have to split hydrates, which are a little more rare, but they are present, or I could split ore. Ore is also a little bit rarer, but it is present. I can use the opal process and squeeze ore from this, using a bunch of ISRU from Rational Resources and Wild Blue Industries, Omni Converters, Sterling Systems, the whole enchilada. I also got stuff like spogamine, silicates, rare metals. I'm not sure if I actually have a resource use for these resource chains, but I might be able to use them. What's really important is hydrates for water, because I really need water and carbon dioxide to create methane. And also carbon dioxide. Whoa, what's going on here? Ah, it was just a weird eclipse. Zog. It's got behind the Gurdama. Maybe it was because of the wormhole now that yeah, the wormhole's on the other side. Now, water, I need water and carbon dioxide for methane, which I use for all my nuclear thermal propulsion and stuff, because methane's just the best fuel there is. Also, there's a very small presence of argon on Donk, but most importantly, there is a ton of carbon dioxide. There's like 1 ton per cubic meter, and that is a lot. So I'm probably going to be using carbon dioxide powered nuclear thermal rockets to like do all my colony vehicles. But I'm going to turn some of that into methane to use for my longer range vehicles, because carbon dioxide is a great abundant fuel, but it really isn't as good in terms of ISP and thrust. I've actually already constructed a couple of vehicles made for transport of items. That's going to be pretty neat. So first, I've created a cargo drone. If the game would actually load. Gurdama has a volcanic winter. Yeah, it kind of does. Still a proto planet, kind of. Now, I actually kind of inspired this off of one of the vehicles in the KSP2 trailer. Kind of how it has 4 big cargo containers. I did tweak scale them down, because otherwise they'd be absolutely massive. And I do not need all these rocket parts. Now, these engines in a vacuum with all these rocket parts, there's not a lot of Delta V or TWR, but it's enough to reach orbit around Donk and Dres, and it does have plenty of TWR, so it'll still work just fine. And even once you dock with whatever space station or orbital dock you already have going on and transfer all your rocket parts, it takes a lot of more Delta V because it doesn't have to lug as much cargo. Yeah, hold up. I actually kind of want to test something real quick, because I want to know if you can switch the cargo in these containers in flight. Because if I can do that, if I can swap out the cargo, it means I don't have to construct a bunch of different cargo drones, one to lug ore, one to lug metal ore. Probably I'll only need 1 drone to lug rocket parts, at least for cargo. See, look, I can actually change the cargo, but I'll have to dump everything. So that's actually really good. The main thing I'm worried about is my cryogenic fuel drone, or my fuel drones. This one I can change the cargo, but I'm not sure about my cryo drone. I think I might be able to do that, because the OPT fuel tanks, you can switch those, and these kind of use the same technology. Now this one just has a big tank. It's quite a lot bigger. It's a bigger tank, but does have a lot less mass compared to all those extremely dense rocket parts. Also looks a little bit longer, but it still uses the same cluster of 4 stubber augmented atomic rocket motors using carbon dioxide, because that's the most abundant fuel we have. You know, when you download rational resources and stop using ore for literally every resource, you actually have to use your whole frontal lobe to calculate all the resource chains. Well, let me check. Can I change the fuel? I cannot. That is actually very unfortunate, because it means I'll have to create like a bunch of different probes, one for carbon dioxide, one for methane. It's going to be very annoying. Now, this is actually pretty weird. Maybe there's a patch that does this for all the fuel tanks. But OPT space planes tanks. Let me put a probe core in here real quick and some batteries so it doesn't die on me. This is just a test vehicle. I can actually change the fuel, if I recall correctly, in flight of the OPT spaceplane tanks. I really want to be able to change the resource in flight, just so I don't have to make a bunch of different probes for different resources. See, look, I can actually select the OPT tank, change to ammonia, yeah, it holds methane, yeah, it holds fusion fuel. Pretty nice, but you can't really do that for all the other parts. Who knows, maybe I should ask Jade of Mar to add fuel swapping functionality to all the fuel tanks, because Rational Resources was one of his mods, and it gives the fuel tanks all these options, which is really convenient. Also, I do have the spin drive mod installed, so I can do some Project Hail Mary stuff if I feel like it. So I should probably get my colony constructed. Oh man, I hate when I search and the game lags. I gotta install that Krubal search engine mod. So Sterling Systems actually has a couple of launch pads. I've got this big one. Let me just disable the underground part because I don't need it. Blast shield. I'm probably going to use this. I don't really care about having the underground part. Because if I... Well, I'm thinking about using Kerbal Construct's decal system to be able to make a flat space for my colony. I've been thinking about using this for my launch pad. I'll have to assemble that. But I think we can be able to transfer all the colony supplies over. So first I'm going to be making a colony ship. So a little bit of a preview for my next episode. This is the ship I sent to Gurdama. You'll be seeing that video in a couple of weeks unless I get sick and can't upload it or something. Also, these blue stripes from Reforged Materials Redux. Great mod. Okay, so what I'll be doing... I'll probably make something similar to this. Except I'll give it some more luxurious stuff and a bit more space. I'll be using the larger gravity rings because the Pilgrim one's a little bit smaller. This one's a bit more spacious and a lot more luxurious. I will be having a bit more, longer stays on here. I'm probably also going to put a rather large greenhouse here. Where's the colony planned at? I'm thinking either Drez or Donk, but their resource supplies are pretty much the same. I really want to do Donk because it's an interstellar location, but I have a poll on my Discord. A whole lot of people are currently saying Drez, but it's pretty much a toss-up. There's only 3 votes, and 2 of them are for Drez, one's for Donk. So if you want to join my Discord server, you can contribute. Okay. I'm also going to have my supplies for construction. Got my rocket parts right here. Gotta empty it because I'm not gonna take all of them in. Oh, hold up. How many rocket parts do I need to construct this? I need 20 kilunits. Okay, I'm gonna have it filled up on when I transfer to wherever I'm building my colony, and then I'm gonna use it to construct all my ISRU stuff to collect more rocket parts. And then after that, once I can get the whole rocket part whole thing together, I can construct the rest of my colony. I'm also going to need some fuel tanks for... I'm going to have a CO2 tank, though it's not going to be in use for now. Launch pad, okay. Oh, extraplanetary launch pads, where is it? I remember there's like a little thingy over here. Or whatever. I mean, I could be using some of the Sterling parts. Or I could use a built-in orbital dock. This is the part I always use, though it's not the best looking part. In fact, extraplanetary launch pads is a bunch of really jank looking parts that look pretty bad, to be honest, especially when compared to the work of Urtea and other modders. I'm also gonna give myself a Sterling printery. Whoop, I'm gonna have a... Excuse me, sorry. These printeries are gonna be very useful because they allow me to... Wait, hold up. I used to think these are able to act as a workshop. Hold up. Oh man, wait. Oh wait, it is a workshop. Yeah, it is a workshop. There's a little tweakable for that. Now, I might be using primarily liquid CO2 for this. But then again, I might want to use a different fuel. We'll just have to see. Let's see how liquid CO2 gets us. We do have a good amount of nuclear propulsion, I guess. We actually have the Orion drive available to us now. However, the gas cores give us better ISP. Being a vacuum, this gives us not the best delta V. Maybe I add a bit more fuel to it. I mean, this would definitely be able to get us to Donk or Drez. So this would definitely be a suitable option. I mean, getting this alone, it's just going to be a one-way mission for now. I feel like this will be enough fuel for a one-way mission. Let's get some truss adapters for this. Now the thing about these Stirling engines, the gas core ones, is that they need a lot of a few radiators. If you don't have radiators, they'll overheat and explode. It's probably not the best idea having my radiators close to these cryogenic fuel tanks. It does look cool, definitely. Well, I have an idea. I mean, from a gameplay standpoint, it'd be easier not to have these trusses here, but I kind of want to be semi-realistic here. I'll be using graphene radiators because they have the best heat dissipation. Okay, kind of go as small as I can without exploding. So can I do these ones? Yeah, these ones work. You know, I think I might be able to go even smaller than that. Yeah, I'll do these ones. It'll keep this beast cool. It's a monster engine that uses actual enriched uranium. Also, spoiler alert for the next mission. That will be in a future video. These engines use way too much uranium, especially if you're using the fission reactor. Besides, since I might be assembling some craft that use NTRs from here, it'd also be nice to have enriched uranium in here. But the thing is, it's hard to transfer the enriched uranium to an engine. However, Stirling Systems and Rational Resources has an option that allow you to refill the uranium using the workshop. Say this printery gives something called Rational Resources Work that, when paired with a bit of uraninite, can actually refill the amount of uranium here. Wait, you also need thermal power. Well, you do need thermal power, but I believe this also produces thermal power. Yeah, see, the fission reactor creates a bunch of a ton of thermal power. That's a ton of thermal power. So this thing creates a ton of electric charge with its thermoelectric converter, but it uses a bunch of uranium, so you gotta pack a bunch if you want to use it like an actual reactor. Either that or have a backup power supply. Another nuclear thermal rocket could work for that. By the way, if you want to give me ideas, please, by all means, chat away. Basically, the whole reason I'm using CO2 is abundant on Donk and Drez, especially Donk, so I'm going to be using CO2 for all my colony stuff and use methane for all my high-efficiency, long-range missions. Actually, I'm going to place a dock at the end. No, I should probably get hangar extenders sooner or later. I keep forgetting to unlock it. Yeah, I'm going to place it at the end, just so any vessel... If I had a dock here, it'd be like a long vessel that clip into this gravity ring and get destroyed and destroy the station with it. So, for make things safer, I'm putting the dock at the very end here. Should probably also name this colony ship. This is not tenacity. Excellent. Now, what should I do with this? I probably don't actually need this anymore. Actually, no, scratch that. I'm gonna have some docking ports. Probably gonna have a whole lot of docking ports. Like I'm gonna have some very large ones for station expansions and some smaller ones just for basic spacecraft. So these are gonna be my spacecraft docking ports. They're gonna be a lot more reasonably sized. I was kind of wondering how I'm gonna launch this. I mean, I could just assemble it like I did with Tenacity 2. I'm naming it after I named it after my old Tenacity vehicle from KSP Resurgence. Who remembers that? That was like over a year ago. I can't believe how long it's been. Also, another thing I should do. Whole vessel, brushed metal, press P to paint. Look at it. It's all shiny now. You can also do certain regions with this color. You know what? I'm going to show you guys that. How should I color it? I'm going to color the logistic container. I do my nebula blue region. I adjust a few of the settings to change the area where it's painted. I do top. That seems nice. Paint. Look at that. These two parts are now blue. So is this label. Pretty cool, I must say. I mean, sometimes the region and the mesh pick option are kind of broken, especially with parts with being on part switch. For example, the Sterling fuel tank. I mean, I'd love to recolor certain parts of this, since it has like multiple lengths. If I try to recolor a region of it, wait, hold up. Wait, last time I did this, it broke. Was it because it was like this? Yeah, see, when I attach it, the struts, it breaks. Yeah, I realize what's causing the issue. Okay. Kind of went on a tangent here. I'm going to go back to what I was doing. Another thing I did was I colored the areas on this engine using the mesh pick tool, but it's kind of buggy, so I'm not going to do it this time. This seems like a pretty good ship, to be honest. But the Delta V is a little bit lacking. Should I switch to methane? I feel like I should switch to methane. Oh wait, hold up. 13,000. This one also gives me 13,000. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna send the methane tanks with it, cause I'm definitely gonna need some methane tanks later, because I'm gonna be using that for refueling. Say, got methane. I can't do that right now, but I definitely can add methane tanks a lot later, especially these big ones. Especially these big ones, just because these mounts are already the same diameter as these docking ports. It just makes sense to use these. Yeah, I feel like this colony ship is good. I just gotta assemble it somehow. I mean, I can easily assemble it with my current reusable rocket. I mean, I constructed a reusable rocket that's... a whole lot of this stuff is actually going to appear in the next episode. I mean, I'm going to give you a little preview. This is the rocket I constructed. If you load a craft with reforged materials installed, it takes a while because it has to load all the decals. Once it loads, it looks amazing. See, look, this is entirely reusable. I mean, I tried reusing this stage, but it has a lot of issues, especially with the inflatable heat shield. Because if you try landing it in the ocean, even if you're going at like 2 meters per second, it will all disintegrate upon landing in the ocean. It's just stupid. In fact, if it lands at the exact same speed on the ground, on land, on solid ground, it doesn't explode for some reason. Whereas this one, since the engines are pointing downward, it's a lot more reusable. Also, I added some scorch marks. I kind of got inspired by another YouTube video. I forgot which one it was. It had a reusable rocket with scorch marks, and reforged materials kind of has an option where you can do that. This is probably one of my best rockets. I recorded a whole cinematic featuring it, so look forward for that. Hold up 1 second. I apologize for the minor distraction. I'm back now. Okay, hold up. Get my colony ship. Oh, also, another sneak peek. I'm making SSTO. Oh, where am I going? I just had to go check on something real quick. I make this really cool space plane with some heat tiles, courtesy of Reforged Materials. I'm also able to recolor certain areas. So first I applied this blue color, then I make this area black and apply thermal tiles. So it kind of looks like the textures in Limited recolor, except it's even compatible with this nose cone. You also got these, I tweak scaled these, they're usually a lot bigger, but I tweak scaled them so they're actually a reasonable size. These are from KARE, or Kerbal Atomic Research something. Basically adds a bunch of nuclear jet engines and air intakes associated with them. I didn't have them unlocked, so I just used the RAM intakes. Very great space plane. It can even land on a higher gravity world such as Lapat in the Deb system. But I kind of had to push the whole vehicle to its limits there. Also, here's my prototype Dres colony. I'm actually probably going to discard this. It does look pretty cool, but I kind of want to do something a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to end my little tangent now. Oh, and KSP. Oh, I'm either gonna build this colony on Donk or Dres. Donk is the volcanic, well, not really volcanic, just has a little bit of lava and volcanism going on. It's the proto-moon of Gurdama in the Deb system. So either I go interstellar through the wormhole and place this colony, using some extremely high power antenna offered by KSS2 to be able to transmit stuff. There is a mod that allows you to transmit signals through wormholes, but you need like real antenna or some other mod for it, so I don't want to use that. I mean, I do have a lot of these antenna, but some of them like use tons and tons of electric charge, like especially the blinker, 1,000 electric charge per second. But you do get basically unlimited range with this, so it's kind of a trade-off here. Okay, back to where I was going. Oh wait, I'm probably also going to need communications on this now that I think about it. Equip 2 of them. Extend. Whole vessel. Finish. Brushed metal. No, not region. The whole part. Paint. I mean, I already had a finish. No, actually, I'm going to revert this to stock. Oh wait, no. I did whole vessel again. Oops. Because these two, I mean, it's a little matte over here and boring, but this is all reflective, so I'm going to keep that. Now this should be able to communicate even at interstellar distances, so that's pretty good. Move it back a bit, just so the docking port's a little bit cleaner. So how much does this part weigh? This weighs 237 tons. This part weighs almost 400 tons. So, is it all the uranium? Oh wait, no, this carbon dioxide weighs a ton. It's only like 400 tons, all this carbon dioxide. I mean, I could probably split the launch in two. In fact, that's probably what I'll do. Okay, so let's say if I launch this. Using the move tool here. It's the very, very, very tall piece. I don't actually have a proper name for this vehicle. And to be honest, since this whole thing with the second stage hasn't really worked all that well, I'm probably gonna abandon the whole thing of making this reusable. So I'm just gonna get rid of the parachutes real quick, and also the inflatable heat shield. But this first stage will stay reusable just because I've had great success with it. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be crazy. You know, why don't I have VAB? Why don't I have VAB extender installed? This is just peak Kerbal Space Program right here. Maybe I should use a different, more compact gravity ring. Okay, here's my extremely stupid rocket. Now let me fix the staging. Can this get into orbit? I mean, barely. I can barely get into an orbit. Okay, I might have to build a bigger rocket. Oh wait, also we got these rocket parts. Okay, maybe I should send those up separately. Either that or I could just build a bigger rocket. Okay, this part. I'm probably gonna have to build a bigger rocket for this. Because this part weighs 200 tons while the other one weighs like something crazy. You know, I'm probably gonna split it into like a bunch of different parts. Nothing else. Yeah, I auto-saved thing now. It's stupid. Colony ship. Okay, I'm gonna keep this gravity ring. The fairy's gonna be a little bit weird. So, using the annular docking port. But I'll be right back. Sorry, it's just... I'm sorry, I have to keep taking breaks. Okay, so I believe this will make it a little bit easier, a little bit more palatable for our rocket system. So this part, for Module 1 weighs 45 tons. Module 2 weighs 200 tons. Very heavy, but certainly possible with our heavy launch vehicles. Now, Module 3... I'm probably going to split this into 2 different modules, or maybe I can make a massive expendable rocket. That's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep it in 3 modules. This guy gets a little complicated when you add a bunch of different modules. Okay, the colony ship, I say it's complete. The launch system we can deal with later. Now for the colony itself. First, I kind of want to make some ISRU probes that will connect. That kind of reminds me. The cargo drone. I gotta do something with Kerbal attachment system. Whoop. So Kerbal attachment system is a great mod, especially for colonies like this. It has these little sockets and stuff and winches that allows you to easily connect vessels together without the need for docking ports. You either have it like 2 separate vessels, or you have it behave as the same vessel. So it's very useful for making colonies, because all you have to do is land this near the colony, then get Kerbal out, get with this little winch, and then drag it over here, and then it's all connected all of a sudden, allowing for easy on-the-fly resource transfers. So that's very useful. So first, I'm gonna do my water splitter. No, actually, I'm actually gonna do my CO2 now that I think about it. Because if I'm colonizing Donk, I could use this, because Donk has an atmosphere. It can collect liquid carbon dioxide. The good thing about it is that rational resources, when you harvest gases, you have to condense it. It's kind of annoying. This just gives you straight up liquid CO2, so that's a lot more convenient. If I do this on Dres, I can't use this because Dres has no atmosphere. I'll have to use this bad boy instead. And I'll add this to my colony ship. But then I'll have to find a new place for my dock. To be honest, I kind of want to colonize Donk just because it's cooler. So... my cryo tank. This will store a small amount of carbon dioxide for use in the interim. A whole lot of this will probably flowing into a bigger storage tank. I'll probably have this, and I'll have a massive landing legs. Maybe I'll have something like this. Yeah, so I kind of want to have something like this, where I use this from the station, from Stocklight Station's expansion Redux, where you kind of have it like that. It doesn't really work that well. I'll have to figure that out later. I could also use this. Wait, where is the 2.5 meter variant? Do I not have it unlocked? I mean, I have this variant unlocked, but I don't have the 2.5 meter one. I do have the radial one, but oh my gosh, this mod is. These landing legs are also kind of unstable, so I'll probably use something a little bit more sturdy. I also have my probe core down here. My Kerbal Attachment System joint socket, which is essential for probes like this. I have some batteries. Use a lot of batteries. Also, these need radiators because they'll start to heat up. I gotta make sure my loop IDs are else consistent because when they're all connected, I don't want this on the same loop as my nuclear reactor or else it'll explode. I'll just use these ones. Oh wait, oh my gosh, I can't do that. I mean, there's a truss. No, I'll just do it like this. I mean, there's a truss right here. It exists for a reason. Like, see this little truss structure. Okay, this might be a little bit overbuilt. Let's see, how's one work? How's one of these bad boys work? Okay, one of these. Okay, two of these should do it. You know, I should probably stick with. How about one of these? I feel like one of these should definitely be enough. Oh, this is a big one. You know, I'll probably do something a bit more like regularly attached, like this one. Like how 6 of them work. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go and overbuild because it looks cool and it looks cool and it's like this. For source of power, I'm gonna outsource it to a nuclear reactor that'll be on the whole station. What the heck? Oh wait, hold up. It's weird. To be honest, I kinda wanna test this out on Donk to see if you can actually collect these resources. I mean, on Dres it won't work because there's no atmosphere, but on Donk it has a very thin atmosphere. I'm gonna test that, then I'm gonna have to end my stream because I have to get off. I have something I need to attend to. I probably gotta colonize Donk just because it's a lot more interesting. Okay, let's see. Oh my gosh. Why did it do that? It's empty flying. Okay, what? Oh my gosh, it broke my probe core all because of this. Parallax Collider. You know, why? I should just disable these stupid rock collisions, because I'm just flying a space plane trying to land, and then I get completely obliterated by some stupid pebble on the ground. But I hesitate because it always requires a reload. So I'm going to finish this up real quick, then change the settings so it reloads, and then I gotta end my stream. Wait, 5,000 years for Kerbal Space Program to load. Up to 100. What are all these defaulting? Why did it fling me? 90 pitch also. Start harvesting. Okay, CO2. Oh my gosh, it's getting CO2 really quickly too. It's draining my battery, but okay, it works. Excellent. Also, collision. Where's collision level? I would say only large objects. Okay, guys, I gotta end my